Welcome to the 1204. Pedophile hunters in the United Kingdom are not heroes. When you go on pages like Predator Awareness, you will notice a bunch of people in the comment section giving praise to this pedophile hunting group, calling them heroes. These people should be paid a very high salary. Some people even go as far as saying that they are keeping children safe. I completely disagree with that. Because when you call somebody a hero is somebody that rescues somebody. Somebody that does something heroic. If I went into a burning building and I saved a child or a dog from burning to ashes, then I could be considered a hero because I did a heroic act. These people are not heroes because what they are doing is they are creating the situations. They are creating the situations and jumping in to solve the situation, and now they're getting a pat on the back. Let's look at the facts here. I do apologize for my cough. I've got a nasty cold. Can't seem to shift. These people go on websites for 18 plus. Badu, Tinder, Grinder, Plenty of Fish, whatever dating website they go on. They put up a picture of somebody who they say is supposed to be 15 or 14 or whatever age. Well, the picture they're putting up is obviously somebody who is going to be 18 or over, because you won't be able to put up a picture of a minor on that page. Obviously, these people do not have a verified account, and I just want you to remember that the account they have on these sites are not verified, and that's for the sake of the point I'm going to make later on in this video. So they go on these pages now with their bogus profiles, and then they're chatting to people who clearly, well, the majority of the people they catch clearly have severe mental issues. And then these people who they meet up with are obviously, I hate to use this word, but these people are slow. Because these people are willing to meet up with this supposed minor without even hearing this person's voice and without even talking to them on cab. I watched an episode today. I can't remember the man's name who they caught, but it was a guy with glasses, and the guy started to smash his head against the fence. Obviously, even before he started smashing his head into the fence, it was so obvious this guy was not all there in his head. Now, people are going to say, well, that's no excuse. But, he's still beating a child, blah, blah, blah. But it does make my point. And it's very, very relevant that these people have learning difficulties. Because unless you're some crazy, horny fucker who is just going to, fall for that, most people are going to know that that's a bogus account. Forget the fact that most people in their right mind would not even want to meet up with a 15-year-old or a underage person anyway. But the fact, what I'm trying to say is this: I've been on dating apps before, and trust me when I say, I am not meeting up with anybody unless I, the very least, have a phone number to speak to them, and even that's not enough. I'm going on FaceTime. I want to see who I'm chatting to. I want to see what the person looks like. Because forget the fact somebody is underage or whatever. I say I'm not even talking about that. In recent years, there's been a lot of people, especially females, are fond of taking pictures from angles and using filters. And when you meet up with them, they look nothing like the pictures. So I always go on cam to make sure I know who I'm chatting to. These people are turning up to meet women without even a phone number or without hearing a person's voice. Because all they chat between the decoy and between the supposed pedophile, it's all written. None of it is even an audible conversation. Because clearly, if it was, then I'm pretty sure the police will have something to say about that. Because if you're having a phone conversation with a person and the person starts masturbating and wanking off, you are going to have to go along with it. And if you don't go along with it, then that person is probably not going to want to meet up. Then you guys are not going to have a sting, which means you guys are not going to have content. So this thing is all a setup. It's a complete farcical as far as I'm concerned. Because you guys are catching these people and celebrating like you're taking dangerous pedophiles off the streets. Like you're taking dangerous men off the streets. I've even seen some idiots on that page. You know, they believe that the 15-year-old girls are now safe. Let me tell you something about child sexual abuse. There's two types. There's the type here where you see a man who will jump out of a bush or whatever, and he will force himself onto a woman or a young, or somebody underage, and he will grab them and he will take it by force. Pedophilia doesn't work like that. Sadly, when it comes to pedophilia, well, actually, pedophilia is not even a real word for it. But there's no point in me trying to educate these guys because these guys are so dumb. But let's just call it pedophilia for the sake of this argument. The way it works, and the reason why it can go on for a long time, is because the young person involved in the pedophilia, they don't believe they're actually being abused. They believe they're in a proper relationship with the adult. It's only when they get older that they realize that what was happening was wrong. Let me say that again for the people in the back. A lot of these people believe that they're in relationships. Years ago in America, there was a group called NAMBLA. NAMBLA. And it stood for North American Man-Boy Love. It was a bunch of young boys who were 15, 14, trying to make a petition. I love my older boyfriend. I am not a victim. He's my boyfriend. I knew it was wrong. Most people knew that was wrong, but it was hard to convince these boys that it was wrong. If you look at the Michael Jackson incident, whether you believe he's guilty or not, one of the boys said something interesting. Well, he's a man now, Wade Robson. Wade said, do you know what? Because he wasn't being, held down and punched in the face and, abused, being roughed up. He didn't see nothing wrong with it. He thought it was just a relationship. Because this man was so kind to him, he was so loving to him. It's only when he was older he realized that, hang on, this was wrong. Because guess what? If those boys Michael was allegedly touching or messing with, if these boys happen to be all 18, guess what? It would have been completely legal. That's the point I'm trying to make. Most pedophile relationships, it's only illegal because of the age. What I mean by that is this. Most adults who are in relationships with young people, yeah, you do realize if that young person was of the age of consent in whatever country they're in, that there will literally be no crime. Because these pedophiles are not actually smacking them around or abusing them or roughhousing them. The only reason why it's illegal is because she's underage. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Sorry, I went off, on a bit of a waffle there. But here's the point I'm trying to make. These pedophile hunters, like Predator Awareness and the fanatics on their page, they believe that pedophilia, people who are pedophiles, they're literally going around and, they're going to rape a child by force and they're going to kill the child and blah, blah, blah. And that's why they celebrate when they sting these individuals and they get these individuals arrested. And this is why these guys, these buffoons you see doing these things, will never ever catch real pedophiles. Because real pedophiles are much more slippery than this. They're much more sophisticated. These are people who have jobs, who are well-to-do people. These are people in positions of some kind of authority over children. Whether it's the pastor at the church, whether it's a priest, whether it's a sports coach, whether it's a school teacher, whether it is a dance teacher, a karate instructor, whatever. And these pedophile hunters are never going to catch these people. Because let's think about this right now. Pedophilia. Well, the actual definition of pedophilia is somebody that's sexually attracted to a person who has not been through puberty yet. But according to these pedophile hunters, if you want to go for someone under 16, 15, you're a pedophile. Well, that's stupid because Germany, the age of consent is 14 and Brazil is 15. And so pedophilia is pedophilia. It doesn't work by country to country, by definition. It's sexual attraction towards people who have not had puberty yet. But let's just use the pedophile hunter's definition of a pedophile. And they believe by entrapping these people that they're actually fishing them out and they're preventing these guys to go on to target 15-year-old girls. First of all, no 15-year-old girl is going to go for that type of person who you people keep catching. These people you're catching are a bunch of misfits. 15-year-old girls, I believe, are going to be more interested in Chris Brown and, what's his name? What's his name for, the white boy that sings? Justin Bieber. Those types of people. Even Drake, rappers or whatever. They're not going to be interested in these misfits who probably have never even had a girlfriend before. Now, the point I was trying to make before was a real pedophile is not going to go on a website for 18s plus, and he's not going to go there looking for minors. Why would a pedophile go on an 18 plus website? What's the chances of you bumping into somebody who happens to be lying about their age on an 18's website? I need you guys to use your brains. But because pedophilia is so disgusting, it's so nasty, it's raunchy, it's the worst thing ever. As soon as that word comes up, people become illogical and they don't even want to think properly. As soon as you say this person was here to meet a child, the public and everyone automatically, they want the rope to be brought out so this man can be hanging from a tree. And the crazy thing is, and what the funniest thing about this whole thing is this, that whenever a member of the public approaches, these thugs basically surrounding somebody on the street and lambasting that person, one of them would always say, this person was here to meet a child. And automatically that gains, the support of that member of public. I should have really waited till my cough went away to make this video, but fuck it. People want to see pedophiles burnt to the stake and whatever. I mean, that's a bit harsh for me. I do think a harsh prison sentence should definitely be, mandatory for anyone who's caught with a person under the age of 16. I'm very sorry, but I'm not one for jungle justice, and that's what's funny about this, because the sort of people that support these pages are the same people that support these pages are the same people who are against Sharia law. They don't want Sharia law because apparently Sharia law is barbaric. All this jungle justice. Let me ask you this: in these Sharia law hellhole third world shithole countries, what do you think will happen if somebody was caught raping a child? In those countries, they'll set them on fire. And that's just barbaric. But like I said to you already, pedophilia is such a horrible crime over here that people want to see the worst punishment inflicted on people who are convicted of these crimes. But if you stop for 1 second, you'll realize that these men who these pedophile hunters are catching pose zero threat to any 15-year-old girl or any young person. Because one, no young person is going to go for them. And two, they only went to meet up with that fake person pretending to be a girl was because there was a fake person pretending to be a girl. Because guess what? Just think about this for 1 second. Imagine if there was no pedophile hunters. Guess what will happen? all those men would not have been arrested. All those men would not have raped or went on to, you know, mess with any young people under the age of 16. But guess what would have happened? Kids would have still been falling prey of real pedophiles. Because like I said, real pedophiles are going to be off these people's radar because they're too sophisticated and too smart for them. Because pedophilia is not something that's done in the open. This is a very, very secretive, hidden crime. These people are very, very subtle. They're very, very secretive. But yet, you know, these guys seem to believe that setting up fake profiles on an 18 plus website and luring people with learning difficulties to locations to publicly humiliate them, they think they're actually helping the government. You guys are actually wasting taxpayers' money. You guys are wasting taxpayers' money. Because why do you think you guys will never ever catch those Pakistani grooming gangs in, is it Rochdale? I think one of those places. The reason why you won't catch them is because, like I said, it's a very, very hidden and secret activity that goes on. And also as well, regarding the Rochdale incident, was it Rotherham? One of those places, I can't remember. But there was a lassie. There was actually a chick. Her name was, I'm gonna say her name, I don't care. Her name was her name was Samantha. Oh my god, man. Whatever her name is. If it comes to me, I'll say it. She was actually in a relationship with one of those guys. She's from like do you know what? I'll do a separate video about her actually. Yeah, I'll do a separate video about her. But the point I'm trying to make to you anyway, in those places there, in Rochdale and those places with the Asian grooming gangs. Now, how do you think those girls ended up sleeping with these fat, sweaty, balding, disgusting teeth, curry smelling Pakistani men? How do you think she ended up, a young 14-year-old girl ended up sleeping with such a slob of a man? Think about it 1 second. These fat, greasy Pakistani men that work in the kebab shops all day, smelling of chip oil, if they pulled up in a van outside these girls' schools and we're trying to wink at girls, we're trying to chat them up, you best believe those girls in those schools are going to be grossed out. So what these guys do is they send their nephews. Now, let me give you the profile of the nephews. He's 21 years of age. He dresses nice. Has a bit of swag. He's confident. He's good looking. He drives a nice car. He plays loud music. Now, when he drives outside the school, then you're going to see the 14-year-olds and the 15-year-old girls they are going to be more interested in that type of man. He's 21, he's good looking, he drives, and he's got swag. Now, when that 21-year-old gets with that 40-year-old girl, she falls head over heels in love with him. When you're in love, chemicals are released in your body. This is a scientific fact. She's now in love with this older man. And that is a pedophile. Now, that, according to these hunters, is a pedophilic relationship. The actual word is hebephilia, but let's not even get into that because I don't think you guys are ready for this kind of conversation. So it's a pedophilic relationship, and this guy has now gotten her to fall over heels in love with him, and now what does he do? He tells her to bring some mates along, and then he brings some of his friends who are also young and good looking, but still older than these girls. They end up sleeping with these girls now. These girls all get hooked. And then what do these guys do? They tell these girls, basically, you need to sleep with that man over there, which is basically his fat, greasy uncle in a kebab shop. You need to sleep with him, and if you don't sleep with him, he's gonna break my legs. If you love me, you'll do this. It starts off like that. Then it end up giving the girls booze, and then it end up passing the girls around, and then these girls are basically underage prostitutes. In fact, actually, there's no such thing as an underage prostitute because these girls cannot consent. So what's happening is basically these girls are passed around and they're sexually trafficked. And that's how these young girls end up sleeping with these fat, old, ugly men who stink. Because you always have to send a good-looking person in to lure the victim. Michael Jackson, he used his celebrity to lure the people in. Whether you believe he did it or not, I'm telling you right now, if Michael Jackson if Michael Jackson wasn't famous, if Michael Jackson was not famous, and he came along to any of those mums, and he said to those mums of those boys that he allegedly touched up, and he said to them, do you know what? I want your son, I want little Johnny to come and sleep in my bed, and we're going to play video games. Michael would have been tarred and feathered. What did I say before about the pedophiles are people in positions of authority over children? Michael was a megastar. And these mums, it was all the same pattern with Michael. I've studied that case in and out. It was all the same pattern. He would charm the mothers. The mothers trusted him because he was a celebrity, and they handed over their children to this man. Most pedophile cases, the pedophile always knows the parents. Look at the R. Kelly situation. Those parents of those girls knew exactly what was going on. Aaliyah, the R&B singer, her mum knew exactly what was going on with R. Kelly and that girl and her daughter. And she turned a blind eye for it. There's a lot these guys have to learn about paedophilia. It's not as simple as, I remember when the internet was starting to get a bit, popping. I remember 99, where like chat rooms were like a thing. was like the new way to meet people or whatever. That's when you heard stories about pedophiles meeting children online or whatever. Think about this right now. Some of these pedophile hunters have actually stung people who was chatting to a decoy who told him that the decoy was 10. I've seen them say to people, you came to meet a 10-year-old girl, or you came to meet a 10-year-old boy. And I'm thinking to myself, hang on a second. So this guy left his house to go 90 minutes away from his house on a train to go and meet a 10-year-old boy at 11:30 at night time. Think about it. Why would a 10... I mean, like, come on. You actually believed you was talking to a 10-year-old. And for some reason, it doesn't occur to people that these guys who they're catching might not be all there in the head. Everything points to the fact that they're not right in the head. I've seen a pedophile hunter on YouTube, and this guy released the full chat. And when I saw that full chat, that looked like it was pure entrapment. Because you got to remember as well, I want the audience to think about this for a second. What kind of back and forth conversation do you think the supposed pedophile was having? No, sorry. What type of conversation do you think the supposed pedophile was having with the fake child? What type of conversation do you think they were having? Do you think the supposed pedophile said to the fake child, "Oh, I like you, I want to have sex with you"? And then the fake child was like, "No, but I'm 14, no, we can't do this." And the pedophile just went, "Oh, do you know what? Here's a picture of my penis." "Oh, well, I'm still 14. And then the supposed pedophile said, "Do you know what? I want to meet up with you." And then the fake child goes, "No, I can't meet up with you, I'm 14. Think about it. In order for that man to go wherever he went, to go and meet that fake child, that decoy, that means that the decoy would have told him something to bring him there, which is entrapment. You can't just go with the flow of things. You have to agree to something. If the guy says, "I'm going to send you a naked picture," you would have to say, "Yes, send it." Because everyone keeps saying, "Why didn't you just block the person as soon as the person told you they were 15?" Okay, why didn't the decoy stop talking to the person? It works both ways. Why didn't the decoy stop talking to the person? The reason why the decoy did not stop talking to that person, because the decoy wants to meet up with the person in order to create content. Because this makes people feel good about themselves. This is fake heroism. There is nothing heroic about this. You guys will never ever catch a real, genuine pedophile. Not only you're not smart to do that, because it's actually very impossible to catch them. The only way pedophiles get caught is when the victim speaks. It doesn't matter who has seen them together. The victim has to speak out in order for the pedophile to be held accountable. Let's look at what happened with R. Kelly when he did a porn video with a 14-year-old girl. And I actually watched the video, actually. Well, I watched the video in 2002. I was 13 in 2002. I would not watch that video now because that would be considered child pornography. So, from what I remember in 2002, I remember this 14-year-old girl looking a bit older. You know, but recently I refused to go back and watch the video because obviously I don't want to watch that with my adult eyes. But some people who have watched it with their adult eyes, they said that the girl looked very young. But anyway, I'm digressing a wee bit. When the authorities were alerted about that video, they tracked down the girl. They tracked down the girl's parents. And guess what? Guess what the girl's parents said? That's not my daughter. The daughter said, that's not me in the video. And guess what happened? There was a brand new Ferrari sitting on the parents' drive as they were denying allegations of their daughter being in that video with R. Kelly, where it was clear as rain, it was her. Then guess what? They had no choice but to throw out the case because without a victim, they've got no case against R. Kelly. Because they couldn't prove the person in the video was a 14-year-old. Even though apparently it was pretty obvious. So it's the same thing here with you guys. You guys are setting up things and believing that, by you catching this slow wit online, that means that you're preventing him from doing any harm to children in the future. That doesn't even make any sense. Because guess what? Even if this guy was capable of doing some horrible things to children, like jumping out of the bush and doing a complete madness, guess what? That little sting bullshit you guys are doing is not going to throw this person away in a prison. Let's be honest. All those things, these guys are not going to rot in prison. I'll be very surprised if these guys even see prison. But let's say they did see prison and they came out and the guy was capable of actually doing something dangerous to children. How could you be... So that just throws out the whole theory of these guys are doing it to save children. They're not saving anything. No one's being saved, And I won't be surprised if these hunters start taking money for this kind of thing. Because believe it or not, people are willing to pay the hard-earned cash to these idiots that run around, catching, people with learning difficulties. Basically, it's a stitch-up. Just like that idiot in Leeds. The light-skinned dude that walks around with a high-vis jacket. Wow, I can't believe I spoke for so long in this video. Only supposed to be a 10-minute video. I do apologize for the coughing. I just do want to say as well, I should have said it in the beginning of the video, I am completely against grown adult men dating minors. I would not even date a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old. Not that it's illegal, it's just not for me. I prefer to date people around my age or even older. In fact, I don't think I've been with a woman before younger than me. Even when I was 20, I was dating older chicks. The point I'm trying to make to you is this: with this type of video, I'm going to get backlash from people who are going to call me a pedo pedo sympathizer. They're going to call me even a pedophile, and I'm not, not expecting it. I know it's going to happen because I know how sensitive and stupid some of these people are who support these pages. But I'm completely against any type of sexual activity between a grown adult, between a grown adult man and a underage, boy or girl. I'm completely against that. I don't think that should be happening. And if there is any man out there who does find it, you know, who does have a thing for young girls and he wants to mess around with young girls, I want that person to be in prison. I want that person to be given a stiffer sentence. I am not for jungle justice. I'm sorry, I'm not. And neither are you guys. You guys just talk it. You guys are talkers. You guys ain't about that life. If you guys saw a paedophile cross the road, you guys are not gonna set the guy on fire. So let's cut the shit. So I'm not for jungle justice. I'm not for the whole hype. The only reason why I'm against these paedophile hunters is because, like I said to you, they are not catching real paedophiles. They are creating a situation that they find themselves in. And I just don't think that's worthy of any kind of praise at all. I think it's actually pathetic. And I really, really hope it does stop. And I hope kids who are victims of real paedophilia, not this fake, decoy fake child, but real kids who are victims of paedophilia, I do hope they find the courage to speak out so we can send these bastards to prison where they belong. Peace, I'm out.